Hey there, Outsiders. On this week's episode, we're welcoming the newest addition to the Gaming Outsider podcast, Who Could It Be? We'll be discussing, with said person, morality systems in games and which path we tend to take when playing. In news, there's a whole lot to talk about with Apple versus Epic. Starfield is going to be exclusive to Xbox, or is it? And there's a couple of new colors of PS5 controllers heading our way. As for the new games we've been playing, I dove into Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Alyssa played an FMV title called Dark Knights with Poe and Munro. Spencer checked out a fun-looking game called Retro Machina. And Tomas played a point-and-click adventure game called Don't Forget Me. And don't you forget to tell a friend about our show. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 346 of the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, May 17th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Well, hey, man.
Good to talk with you, man.
Yeah.
It's been quite a week.
You're energetic and chipper.
I am energetic and chipper. This is a little inside baseball. We're recording a little bit earlier tonight, so I'm very excited to go to bed at a decent hour. So there it is. I'm very happy.
You're beaming.
Are you chipper?
I mean, you have like lens flare in your camera even. You look so happy.
I do. I've got a little, J.J. Abrams thing going on right behind me. It's great. Unfortunately, CB will not be joining us this week, but we have once again joining us Miss Alyssa White. Alyssa, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Scott.
It is so good to talk with you, and we've got a bit of an announcement. This has not been made public yet, but Alyssa is officially our brand new Gaming Outsider podcast member. So Alyssa is now a permanent fixture over here at the Gaming Outsider. So Alyssa, welcome aboard. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love being a part of this crew and this team, and you guys are just the best.
Aw.
Wow.
No, you're the best. No, you're the best.
You're the best.
You hang up first.
Oh, seriously, Alyssa is like one of my favorite people to interact with on Twitter because she's just so positive and like complimentary of everybody she talks to. It's great. So
Yeah, not a lot of positivity on Twitter, usually.
I know.
Yeah, I just like being optimistic.
That's good. That's very good. So just to clarify, CB is not going anywhere. However, as you've noticed, CB occasionally has to work on Mondays. So Alyssa is going to be filling in whenever he's not available. So she's now officially a member. She writes more than me. So she does more articles than I do. So yeah, it was time for her to be a permanent fixture here and a regular on the show. So very excited. And speaking of, Alyssa, what games have you been catching up on this week?
I've been playing Resident Evil Village. I just started it a couple days ago, so I'm not very far in.
All right. Do you hate it as much as Zack does?
I don't hate... Oh, my God.
I did read Zach's review. I'm actually really enjoying it at the moment.
I just couldn't help it.
I hate whenever you don't like a game that's popular because everyone just like... Yeah, the
why would you like
reaction, it? Yeah, the internet reaction is like, oh man, what a like hipster, contrarian. But it's like, guys, I want to like it. I bought the game. Like, I wanted to like it.
Right. I'm just giving you a hard time, dude. I don't really think you hated it.
I just didn't love it. That's okay.
I know, it's okay not to love it.
Okay. Now, Alyssa, do you hate it?
I do not hate it. I'm actually really enjoying it so far. I just got to Lady Dimitrescu's castle, and I'm, going through it. Don't want to say too much. Also, Ethan's poor hands. Oh my gosh. This man's hands.
Just wait.
But yeah, it's kind of weird not having, the typical zombies in the game. It's lichens, pretty much. And I dig it, but it's weird not to have the typical Resident Evil zombies. Which, I mean, the 7 didn't have those either, but...
Yeah. But it did... I don't know. It wasn't werewolves, though. Like, they move so fast, it's just very... It just really backs up the idea that Village is more of an action game.
It is, yeah. And it's not... I haven't been scared yet. With the previous Resident Evil games, I always get jump scared. This one, I haven't, been impacted.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, there is a part that I think will scare the absolute hell out of
you.
But I don't
Later on.
I don't want to give it away. It's just weird that it sticks out like a sore thumb when you're done with the game because it's just like an action game around it, and then here's this horror bit in the middle of the game. But
such a glorious bit, though.
Yeah, PT. That's all I'll say.
Oh god, PT was so scary for me.
Very
well,
PT.
and I think that's what Zack talked about in his review is that there really never was a sense of dread or like I feel like I'm going to die. I mean, granted, I played it on a little bit easier difficulty than Zack did, but even on normal, he said there was just an overabundance of ammunition. I think we're trained in a Resident Evil game just to save every bullet as much as possible, and you don't have to do that in this game.
You don't, no.
Especially with the crafting not taking up inventory space.
Yes. I mean, I loved it. Anything that makes me feel like a god by the end of the game, I'm all about. But when it becomes an issue with your inventory management, not because, like, how am I going to... I'm not prioritizing items. I'm like, what do I do with all this extra crap? That kind of defeats the purpose of the inventory.
I'm like, where are all the storage chests at? They're not here.
Right, because you don't need it.
No, you don't.
But it's just a contrast to Resident Evil 2 Remake, which came out a couple years ago, where you would find the key you needed where you finally found it, but then your inventory is full, so you're like, well, I guess do I heal? Do I try to combine? Do I need to look around for something else? Like, do I need to run back to the storage chest? Do I just discard and let a hole in my heart occur?
Mm-hmm. And then and that never happens in
no.
Village,
not at all.
But I get the impression they built that game around its aesthetic more than basing it on the core gameplay of Resident Evil, but
which is a great aesthetic.
Yeah. It is. I really like the setting.
I'd love to hear your thoughts when you finish that game. We actually did a spoiler cast on it, which is up and available now. I'm getting ahead of myself on the format, but check that out and see what we thought of it. What did we talk about there for like an hour, Zach?
Yeah, that sounds about right. There's we're like 25 years into the Resident Evil storyline at this point. There's a lot to talk about.
Agreed. Zach, what about you?
A little bit more near Replicant. I can't. Did I beat ending E last week?
I think you said you were one ending away.
Okay, well I got that.
All right,
and I think my life has changed utterly.
Really?
I think I texted you. I was like, Scott, I think I found religion.
You did.
You found it.
Yeah, it's a very good ending, and it is a pain to get to. Scott Clark will never see it.
Yep. I will YouTube it.
But if you dealt with the ending of the original game for 10 years, not dealt with, it's a great ending. But this really pays you off if you've sat with the original game's ending for as long as I have.
All right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely got emotional, a little teary, a little cry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But now I'm just now I'm trying to upgrade all my weapons to get a platinum trophy, and it's hell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've tried to upgrade it, gone to the upgrading at all, Scott.
I don't think so. Oh wait, yes, I have over in the junk heap.
Those material requirements are painful.
That's the thing I don't like about this game is finding materials. I've been playing it this week as well, and I hit the halfway point that had been alluding to.
Right.
So I've seen the big surprise, if you will, and I kind of put the side quests on the wayside because a couple of them were like find 10 iron ores and 10 paddle boards or whatever I need for paddle boards for this thing.
It'll be like broken saws, and you're like, what's a broken saw? Then if you have my strategy guide, it'll be like, yeah, it's got a 5% drop rate. And you're like, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's not fun to me. 5% drop rate. That's just ridiculous.
It's just painful.
Yeah. So so you have a strategy guide. I have Google.
Right, for the original Nier, which they did not increase the drop rates, which just seems a little bit mean.
It is mean.
That's fine. The game's kind of mean to you. It kind of kicks you in the balls.
I will say the moment, this big pivotal midway point that you talked about, and I finally saw.
Alyssa knows what it is.
Right, I know, but I'm saying I'm being vague on purpose. I don't. It feels like the game could have ended there, and it would have been a great start to the next one.
For a great many years, when I try to tell people, I'm like, the game is a sequel to itself.
Right. Okay. So you have been saying it. And I will say I was a little disappointed that something turned around, because I was kind of, again, I'm being vague, but I kind of wish something would have stayed happening.
Was it a doorway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that just would have been, that. I know you have reservations about that for thirsty reasons.
You'll understand.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's getting there. I finally see the moon head that I see in all the marketing for the game, and I finally see what that's all about. So that's exciting. But I will finish it, man. I promise.
I believe you. I want you to promise that you just start New Game Plus. I don't expect you to play it. I just want you to start it.
Okay. Well, I just gotta see what's happening.
I love that Scott has to promise Zack he's gonna finish the game.
Well, you don't understand what this game means to
I
Zack.
know. He's got tattoos of it.
I know. And I finally know what those tattoos mean. Like,
that
dude,
is true, yeah.
You got a book on your arm. Like, what's up with that? It's a book with a face on it.
Yeah, well,
I will say some of
he'd be so mad if you called him a book.
I know.
He would be.
Yeah, the voice actor is great, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I have his autograph on my copy of Nier.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, I also, but getting that done, I've moved on to KOTOR, back to my KOTOR playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost done with tattooing. But
I don't know how far that is. I'm still not even fired it up.
Well, you get 4 planets, so you get to choose. This is my second one.
Oh, okay.
So I still got a bit to go, but it's nice getting back in there. You know, it's a great RPG.
I'm looking forward to starting it.
Me too.
20 years after the fact for you both, but
I know.
why
it's
not
on your,
start
It's
now?
on your phone, Alyssa. You can play it on your phone now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, it was like what, $5-10 or something. Just play it on your phone.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna
with the way I play it, you can use the triggers on the Xbox to basically just point and click to every interactable object. So I'm never even moving my character really anyway. So the phone would be a perfect port.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just looking forward to dice rolling. It's my favorite thing
There's
recently.
plenty of dice rolls in that. Yeah, I got in a fight last night where the dice was not in my favor, and I was quite angry. Yeah, that happens though. And then lastly, I am playing more and more of Fantasian on the Apple Arcade. And that game's great, man. It's so Final Fantasy IX that it hurts.
Okay.
Which makes sense because it's basically the same team, the leadership team. And it's supposed to be Uematsu, creator of Final Fantasy, and Sakaguchi, creator of Final Fantasy, and Uematsu, composer of Final Fantasy. This is both supposed to be their last full-length video game project.
Oh.
So it's a Final Fantasy?
You could say it's their Final Fantasy, or maybe even their last story.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, nice.
But it's really good. And it's just... you played a little bit of FF9, right, Scott?
Yes.
Alyssa, you played that?
I have not. Shame on me.
Well, that's all right. It's about a thief boy, and a princess girl, and
Thief boy and princess girl,
which is one of my favorite tropes. Thief boy. The game starts your thief boy, and it takes like 4 or 5 hours. But I just met princess girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here it's no. I don't think they're being too subtle. And I even just met like a really tough mercenary guy who's very much like an FF9 cast member. So it really just feels like. Because like FF9 was this team's send off to Final Fantasy before they went on and did stuff, and it feels like this is their send off to non-Final Fantasy projects before they go off into the sunset. I just can't believe we're at an age now where game directors are retiring.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Video games are officially getting old.
That's kind of crazy to think about. But
I think it's crazy. Like in a historical context, we'll have all been alive for when the first creators of video games all started retiring.
That's true. I remember when,
Miyamoto
retired. Or, you could even talk about like notable deaths. I mean, remember when Iwata died? I mean, I know he wasn't a developer, but like I remember where I was when I heard that news. That was a big deal for me.
I don't. He is an executive, but he was a programmer.
Right.
There's like I think it was Earthbound, but there was some story where he would punch out of his executive shift and then go in and program a Super Nintendo game.
That's awesome.
Like, what a badass.
Yeah, that's pretty good. As for me, I talked about a game last week called Chained. It was a little puzzle game I played on Switch. I finished that this week. Charming little game. I'm glad I only paid $5 for it because by the end of it, I was over the formula. But for $5, that game was incredibly voice acted.
What was it on again?
Switch.
Okay.
It's a very simple little puzzle game that gets progressively a little bit more difficult, but it never gets too difficult. And I just really enjoyed the voice acting in it, which I was very surprised. But the other one that I played this week, it was another game recommended by Jeff Swan from Nindy Nation podcast, is a game called Cathedral on Switch. He said this was a must play, and I picked it up just straight on his recommendation because he has yet to steer me wrong. And
he's kind of the expert of the field.
He really is. I mean, he puts together one hell of a podcast each week, and he takes a deep dive. And he and I are very much aligned in tastes in games. So anyway, Cathedral is a gear-gated 2D platforming game. And I really like it because it feels like an old school 8-bit Nintendo game. Like it looks like that, except for like the stutters. You remember how the old NES games, like if you had too much stuff on the screen, it would slow down, or there would be flashes on the screen?
Yeah, but when you were a kid, you thought it was cool slow motion.
Right, you thought it was cool slow motion, but it was really just the game couldn't keep up. So none of that is here. It feels, it probably looks a little bit better than the old school games, but it looks like what I remember NES games looking like, but it's massive. It's way bigger. It's like an open world. Open world's not the right word. It's just a very large map. And like the map itself is very simplified. Like when you go to look at your map and see where you are to get lost, it's very very vague. It's just boxes with little holes for the doors. It doesn't give you a whole lot of detail or ways to remember, but you can mark the map, which is nice to come back to. But it's very much gear gated in that you, as I get older, I get frustrated when I hit a wall and I can't proceed because I need an item and I have to backtrack and find it. It's just because I'm impatient as I get older. But I keep hitting all those walls, and I know that as I go through the game, I'm going to find what I'm looking for, and it's going to be that aha moment. I'm going to be able to go back. But they do really cool things with it in terms of it's not just like, oh, I need the red missiles to open up these doors, or I need the green missiles to open up these doors. It's unique ways that they're doing it. Like, for instance, there's one section where you have to hit like a little, like a jewel or something, but it's through this tiny little maze, which made me think of Metroid, where you had to crawl into the ball and spider ball your way through and bomb it and go through that. So I'm like, oh, I just got to find the spider ball. It turns out it's not a spider ball. You have to find this little ghost guy that you get with you, and you kind of send him off in a path, and then he can attack the thing, and then you got to bring him back. And I don't know, it's just different ways of doing it that I really appreciate. So, and the gameplay itself, this is going to be a deep cut for some people, but do you remember Wizards and Warriors on the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System? You both are way younger than me.
No, I don't.
I do not.
Sorry, old man.
All right. Well, those of you out there listening, the gameplay, or the way that you control this knight with armor and a helmet over his face and a sword, it reminds me of Wizards and Warriors and Wizards and Warriors 2, which had Yanni on the cover of that game, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yanni?
Yanni. Yeah. You don't know who Yanni is, do you?
No.
I've heard of the name. I can't picture.
My God, I'm so old.
What's a Yanni?
Yanni he's like an Italian model, super long hair. He was on I Can't Believe It's Not Butter commercials when I was in the 90s when I was a kid.
Not Fabio, though?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Fabio. Yanni is a musician.
Fabio.
I'm getting him mixed up. Fabio is who I'm talking about.
Oh,
Yanni,
I know Fabio.
I do know Fabio.
My apologies. I just mixed up Yanni and Fabio. How did I do that?
Is that a compliment to Yanni? Do you think he's thrilled to hear this?
I'm sure Yanni is probably pretty excited that I accidentally mixed him up with Fabio.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Anyway,
now,
wow, that was messed up.
aesthetically, is this game similar to Castlevania in aesthetics?
You mean,
Because
to some degree.
The name Cathedral makes you think it was going to be a Castlevania kind of clone.
I mean, if you look at like original Castlevania, I mean, I feel like Castlevania kind of got darker as it went on.
I'm thinking NES Castlevanias.
Yeah. I mean, as dark as you can get with an NES sprite looking art style. I will say the music, outstanding. I love the music in this game. I actually was this close to texting Grant, who does the music for our show, and saying, dude, you need to look into the music for the Cathedral and do some rock covers, because there's some like really good stuff. So, it's got the downward sword attack, like Shovel Knight.
Oh, nice.
So you've got that plays into it. It's got some really tricky platforming segments that I appreciate. They just have done something different with the formula, while still feeling very familiar to the formula that I really like. So Cathedral, it's like $15.
Sounds pretty cool. Sounds like you could have been using this time to play the games, but it sounds great.
You mean like the game that I promised I would finish? Is that
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know you are. I promise I will finish it. And you know what? I'm gonna go back and either start over or try to finish Automata as well.
Yeah,
this close apparently. So.
Well, don't you want to see if a meal might stick around? Who knows?
Yeah.
I got to ask you. Do you like it that I'm like texting you and asking you questions? Like I'm.
Yes.
Like, I think I asked him and said, okay, so Emil's got this blindfold on. Does it have anything to do with why they're blindfolded in Automata? He's like, no. No,
I appreciate that, but I like that your brain went there, though.
Well, I mean, just because the way they're blindfolded is very similar. It's almost like this.
I'll tell you, so in Automata, the blindfolds are actually visors that provide data to the androids. But really, it's just because it makes for a striking character design, I'm pretty sure. And then they retroactively were like, oh, it'd be cool if they were visors, though, right?
So is that explained in the game, or did you have to like dig into the lore on Yoko Taro's website?
Wait, for the visors?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's in the game.
Okay.
And it does lead to a lot of great scenes when they remove the blindfolds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah. Wow,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even get to... You were like 30 minutes from the first ending and you bailed. That's right.
Yeah. Because that gameplay was not fun for me.
You're out of your mind.
Oh, by the way, I know we keep coming back to Nier, but I finally figured what you're talking about with the word system, where like you can like just you click best words and then just do that to all of your weapons.
Yeah,
all of your magic.
Assign.
Yeah, batch assign was great.
I swear, if that is in the original release, I'm gonna freaking lose my mind.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's not very well telegraphed that you can do that. I don't think.
No, you kind of had to. I didn't really understand what it meant because now that in retrospect, now I'm like, oh, batch. That's what batch means when you're doing a batch order. But
not a very typical game term.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, but for the record, yeah, you can message me. Anybody can message me anytime about Nier. Anytime.
Well, I do. I pretty much give you a play-by-play. At one point, he's like, "Stop texting. Watch this scene."
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, Alyssa was like, "Yeah, I met I had Grimoire," and I'm like, "Stop texting me."
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Christina's playing through the original PS3 game right now, so I feel like I'm the Nier guy, man. It feels really cool. Not gonna lie.
That is cool.
I mean, you can have the honorary title of Nier guy.
I'll take it.
I think it's safe to give it to you. So
that means a lot, actually.
I would hope so. I don't know anybody that loves this game or series, whatever you want to call it, as much as you. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Aww.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Quite a few trailers this week. Bygone Dreams, which is a high fantasy action adventure with RPG elements, releases on Steam later this year. Flowstone Saga, it's a game inspired by classic 16-bit JRPGs, releases in summer of 2022. Sherwood Extreme on PC, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X later this year. Lumione on Steam. High Rise City, which is the next evolution of city simulations. Blood Rain and Blood Rain 2 are getting terminal cut editions. And then also a new game that came out of nowhere called Quantum Replica. It is available now on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. That one looks pretty rad. Also, we got news this week that Skull and Bones has been delayed again. We got 2 new colors of PS5 controllers coming. And let's see, Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance is coming to Xbox Game Pass on day 1. And Zack has some information for us on Apple versus Epic lawsuit. Apparently some interesting things happened this week. And Starfield, it looks like it will only be coming to Xbox and PC. Quite a few things to dive into. Alyssa, this is your first official episode as a Go member, so why don't you start us off here? What do you want to talk about?
Why, thank you, kind sir. And I really dig the new PS5 DualSense colors, especially that Cosmic Red. It is beautiful, but the Midnight Black kind of has the classic PlayStation feel to it.
Yeah, I had to go look at my controller. I'm like, that just looks like a PlayStation controller. Oh, I forgot that the PS5 ones are white.
Yeah, they're white and black, and but that Cosmic Red is just so pretty. I need it.
Yeah, I'm all about that Cosmic Red.
So am I. I don't normally like red anything, and there's something about that shade of red. Would you call it fuchsia?
It honestly looks more like fuchsia than red in the pictures.
I'm colorblind, so I just always have to take all marketing out to worry about what colors are. So it looks red to me. I have a red controller for my PS4, and I love it to death. I want to keep it. And actually, now that I think about my PS3, I also bought a separate red controller, so now I got to keep the streak going.
Get that collection. Just keep growing it.
So when they do the bundle that comes with the Cosmic Red one, you're just going to be all in.
Yeah, right. I'll have to. It'll be the Spider-Man 2 console, and then I'm like, well, I got to get it now.
You know, I just realized that you're like the world's biggest Spider-Man fan, and you can't see red.
Aww.
Wow.
Like, that's just really sad to me.
I mean, he's got blue on there too.
I know, but it just like, I mean, I just never made that connection until now that you can't tell.
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah, like Spider-Man is just like the red is so iconic to me. That's crazy. Wow. Eat the whips. What about you, Zach?
Well, I mean, quick note about the controller. Did you see that the Cosmic Red is $5 more than the Midnight Black?
It is, yeah.
What's that about?
See that.
Why? Why is it?
It feels like they're charging premium because the internet reacted. It's like almost like they knew internal marketing. Like, people are going to want this one more. Let's little uptick. Isn't it like $75 too for a controller now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 75
crazy.
for the Cosmic Red and 70 for the Midnight Black.
These things are getting out of control.
I mean, it's like more than the cost of a game.
Remember when you could just walk in and get a Mad Catz controller for $15?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It worked for like 2 months, but hey.
It was cheap.
You really had to handle it properly, but yeah.
Yeah, no Cheetos while you're playing that game.
Never,
I always
man.
got those for anyone that was player 2. So then if it messed up, I'm like, "Ooh, well, that's the only controller I had for player 2, so...
Alyssa wouldn't spring for a regular controller for her friend. She said, "No, you're getting a Mad Catz."
Yeah, I would not. I would always tell my friends to bring their own controllers.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
Don't mess up my controllers.
Yeah.
I hope they make a gray one. Like the PlayStation
That'd be
Classic
really cool.
console.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would make sense. That would sell like crazy.
I mean, I bought a gray one for my PS4, even though I didn't need it at all.
Yeah.
Because it's just so nostalgic. But anyway, as for news, man, I think this Bygone Dream game looks insane.
Okay. I gotta remember which one that was.
The high fantasy action adventure with RPG elements that was releasing on Steam later this year.
That synopsis sells it to me.
It does look gorgeous. The art style is incredible.
Yeah, and it's an indie game, which is outrageous for how good it looks. I was surprised whenever I see an indie game that is actually like a behind the back 3D kind of game, because I don't feel like we get a whole lot of them. But it's like you're like exploring dreams, it seems like, and it looks very Zelda-ish vibes to me. I just think it looks exceptional.
I think it does as well. I think Flowstone Saga, I said Saga, I think it's Flowstone Sage. Looks really good to me too, but I'm a sucker for 16-bit for some reason. I love the Super Nintendo Genesis era.
That it's like a Tetris combat system has me intrigued.
Seriously, I was this close to backing it. Okay, I still might, because it looks that good. They actually had, I almost contacted you, Zach, and texted you to see if you want to split one, because they have one where there's a tier where they give you 2 copies of the game.
Oh.
And I was like, man, that'd be kind of fun to just do that and, split it down the middle instead.
May have to discuss off air, because
we may have to. But they also have another tier where you can pay like an extra $20 and get your name as an NPC in the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was like, that's really, really tempting. It could be like an item, it could be a NPC, it could be a magic spell or something like that. I was like, kind of want to see like Scotty Lindsay in there or something like that. It'd be
fun if you're like a bar patron in the corner and he's known as the outsider.
Right, that would be awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be pretty cool.
What about you, Scott? You got any news you want to talk about here?
I do. I want to talk about. I got questions for you about the Apple Epic thing, because you've been following that a little bit more closely than I do. But before we get to that, I got to talk about this Starfield thing. Simply because the internet's reaction to it, I think, was the bigger part of the story.
Right. And we're pretty anti-rumor here. At least I try to make sure we don't talk about rumors too often. But this seems pretty much all but confirmed.
Well, maybe you could answer this for me, because I feel like we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not disparaging the guy at all. Who is Jeff Grubb?
No idea.
But his name keeps popping up as dropping these megaton informations recently, and I had never heard of him until a couple months ago, and I understand that's just my pure ignorance, but I genuinely don't know who he is.
Yeah, anyway, I mean,
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know any of the top 10 YouTubers outside of PewDiePie either, so I don't.
Yeah, that's probably us getting old, but
yes, I think that we are aging out of the information that people care about.
That just really sucks. I don't want to have to watch YouTubers.
No, I don't want to get old
to be able to stay up.
Well,
anyway.
I respect. Back in the day on YouTube, you didn't use your face. You just talk over information. I just don't want to see it. I don't want you talking to the camera. It's not very exciting to look at, no matter who you are. No offense.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I would the guy who does our Rel, who does video reviews of his own, and he often reviews games for us. I love his videos where he does a voiceover over the gameplay. I'm more interested in seeing the gameplay.
Specify I'm talking about reviews here.
Right.
There are other content. You can vlog. There's stuff you can do. I'm just saying.
Right.
For me.
But anyway, the story came from GamesBeat. They cited sources familiar to a decision regarding Starfield coming exclusively to Microsoft Xbox and PC, which, like Zack mentioned, is not... There's been no official comment from Microsoft, but it seems all but confirmed at this point. And the reason I brought it up, even though it is technically still a rumor, is, boy, people's reaction to this just makes me laugh. I mean, on both sides of this. I'm not talking about just Sony people that are, well, I'm never buying a Bethesda game again. Shut up.
Yeah, well, I especially love all the comments are like, well, Bethesda never made a good game anyway. I'm like, what?
It's like, you put 400 hours into Skyrim, okay?
Yeah, right.
That game was subpar at best. Once you hit that 350-hour mark, it just goes downhill.
It's nothing to do after 800 hours.
I mean, but even the Xbox fanboys are just like, neener kind of thing. Like, I just console war thing is so stupid to me. And it's not like
no matter which way you split it, because then you got the people who are like, how could they take this away from PlayStation gamers? But then, well, PlayStation gamers weren't upset when you took Spider-Man away from Xbox,
right? Who
is significantly larger deal than Starfield will ever be.
We don't even know what Starfield is.
Yeah, no one knows.
Yeah, like it's not. It's not like it's it's not Fallout 5 or anything.
Oh, now you got me excited. A new Fallout, man. I want to play a new Fallout.
That's inevitable. But what did you think was going to happen when Microsoft bought an entire publisher?
I know. There's a reason that was big news.
It's a reason they spent a stupid amount of money. They want to make the money back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I would much rather that Starfield was on everything. I mean, it's the more people play stuff, the better. I'm not like, yes, it's on my platform of choice. if it were on PlayStation, I would play it there. It just makes me angry. But people's reactions are what are like the bigger news story, because no matter what anybody posts, I think you made a comment even on that, Zack. Like when you retweeted that article or that tweet, it was like, boy, just the comment section.
Oh yeah. It was like, oh, it's fun diving into these comments. Yeah, because they're all just. I assume anybody who's getting up on the internet and getting mad about the console wars has to just be a kid, right?
No. I really don't think so, because I mean, they could be. You're right, they could be, but reading the dialogue and the way that sentences are structured and some of the vocabulary doesn't feel like it's a 14 or 15-year-old kid, but I could be completely wrong. I'm not saying that 14, 15-year-old kids can't learn large words, but I'm just saying. Like it just sounds like an adult, I guess, acting like a child instead of the other way around.
I always try to write them off as kids, but you know what? Even if you are a 40-year-old man getting mad about the console wars, you're kind of a kid,
right?
Definitely a child,
acting like one.
Yeah.
You're not helping our case about video games not being for kids when you act like a child in your 40s.
Correct.
That's the thing that bugs me the most is we have a hard enough time defending this hobby to people that don't do this and think that we're just doing a kids thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. Help us out. Act like an adult. Grow up. And like, I know I already said this, but the thing that cracks me up the most about this is we literally have no clue what Starfield is. Is it an open world RPG? Yeah. I mean, we kind of assume.
It's like everyone getting up in arms about the AT&T selling off Warner Media or whatever. I'm like, you don't know anything about it. Why are you mad? You don't know what any of this means. Just shush up.
Yeah.
And, at least Starfield's going to be on PC too. PlayStation would have done that.
That's true.
Yeah, that's correct.
Very true. I'm going to love it if Starfield comes out and it's like a match 3 puzzle game. Like that would make my day. That's all Starfield was.
Sounds like it seems like a kind of troll Todd Howard could get behind.
Oh man, April 1st. It's coming around again here soon in another 8, 9, 10 months, right?
You're prepping your joke early this year.
Oh my god, would that be great? They just release a trailer. Here's the Starfield trailer. It's like delicious. I want that to happen. All right, Zack, what have you learned about Apple versus Epic this week? I know I didn't prep you here, but you've been following a little bit more closely than I have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you're overselling my. I don't have like a deep legal understanding. I am reading about it like every day to try to get the updates. But the thing with that is mostly, like most court cases, it's just a bunch of back and forth nonsense.
Right.
I mean, there are funny things that are happening where it's like, can you confirm what a PlayStation is? And these
totally lawyers that have no idea what video games are.
It's just really bizarre stuff. But basically, I mean, Epic is trying to make the argument that Apple has a micro monopoly in that, when you're on their store, they're the only store you can buy stuff from on their device. So therefore, does that lock it down into a micro monopoly? Is their argument, because on Android you can buy like V-Bucks, you can buy on a web browser, and then you can buy it on a web browser and a Samsung, but you can't do that on Apple, for instance.
So you have to go through Apple in order for Apple to get a piece of the pie. Right.
So there's no workaround. So therefore, does that create a monopoly because you're not allowing fair competition? And there make some interesting arguments, and it's basically all boiling down to. It feels like Epic's trying to make the case that Fortnite is more than a game, that it is like an experience or a metaverse. But here's the thing: you give me a strange look, Scott. But Apple does let Roblox have more freedom than a lot of other games because they consider it an experience in their corporate nomenclature.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So if Epic can either prove that Roblox is just a game and therefore has been given special treatment, or that Fortnite is more than a game and therefore should have been getting different treatment, both of those would do a lot of damage to Apple's day in court, basically.
It sounds like somebody in charge of Roblox is related to somebody in charge over at Apple.
There was just a stupid amount of money in Roblox that it seems like every kid is into Roblox.
They are, dude. I teach them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
I've played with them. I don't get it.
So I'm intrigued to see what it comes down to. The judge is funny because she's pretty directly sassy. Like when she had Tim Sweeney on the stand, she interrupts lawyers to ask the witnesses questions a lot, which is, I think, fairly unusual. But it's just like funny because like he's getting off the stand. She's like, "So what's your plan B here? Like, if this doesn't work, like, do you have a backup plan for what happens to Fortnite afterwards?" And like Tim Sweeney's like, "No." Like they really like put all of their chips into the fact that they can beat Apple in court, which is not going to be an easy battle. Or like Apple's trying to. They were doing something where there is a way to get virtual currency in one game on Apple, and Apple was trying to say how easy it is, but then they had to you had to go to your PC and then sync it to your phone or something, and the judge was like, "Well, that doesn't seem very easy."
No, who syncs their phone to their PC anymore?
Yeah, and then Apple. I think the most damning thing so far is that Apple like listed a bunch of games where you did have other options to get virtual currency, and there's like some where like RuneScape where like your account syncs, I guess, across, so you could technically buy something on PC and use it via the App Store's version of the game or stuff. But several of their games on their list, first of all, didn't exist.
Oh.
Or were games that like had the same name as another game. So like technically there is an App Store version and a PC version, but the PC version is actually a different company making a different game. And it's pretty funny. And then Apple's like, I don't know, they're really bringing like itch.io and their porn games against Apple because you can go to itch.io via the Epic Game Store, or they're trying to make Epic look immoral because you can technically get to pornography on their store, and it's like that's
a reach.
Oh, a hell of a reach, Like it's just, I mean, I guess
pun intended.
So I mean, it's all just a bunch of goofy stuff. I just think, I mean, it is just a bunch of billionaires measuring things at the end of the day,
right?
But I think Tim Sweeney, like, is a guy who has never sold out, even though you could have billions. He is putting Fortnite kind of on the line here because the iOS was by far the most popular place to play Fortnite. So he is kind of really putting his company a little bit on the line here to go up against Apple. And I do kind of respect that.
I mean, he'll still be fine. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yes, you're right. No matter what, and I mean, Fortnite is obviously, it's still so popular. Even without the Apple version, it's just like if he wins, that's also going to have a knockdown effect for Sony and Microsoft because they also technically have a closed ecosystem the same way Apple does.
Right.
So this could be he could really be taking down big tech in a weird way, which is weird for him being, big tech.
Right.
And we're just learning a lot of juicy behind the scenes stuff too. Like they were trying to secure PlayStation exclusives for the Epic Game Store, like Days Gone. Instead of going to Steam, could have gone to the Epic Game Store. They offered him like $200 million.
Wow.
For one game.
No, for 4 to 6 PlayStation exclusives, which no matter what they are, like why wouldn't you can make such easy money.
Yeah.
Because those games are already turned to profit if they're going to PC. They wring the towel dry on PlayStation before they're going to bring in the PC.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you just take that easy money and then people are going to download the Epic Store anyway? You're making double money? I don't understand why they turned that down.
I don't either.
I don't.
I think the bigger implications of this, or possible implications of this, are what's really interesting. Because this could turn the games industry upside down in terms of like exclusivity and there's all kinds of stuff that could happen here.
I mean, I can't even imagine. There's so much that could change if Epic wins here. I mean, if Apple wins, nothing really happens other than Fortnite will probably never be on the App Store.
And that's it.
Yeah, but if Epic
and
wins,
it's not right now, so they're doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if Epic wins, big things change.
Mm-hmm. And not just with Apple and Epic, but all over the place. So
yeah, it can be pretty crazy.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Zach, we've got some new Patreon episodes available for everybody. Can you give everybody a reminder of what those are?
Sure, I'll fill in for CV.
Yeah.
We have the Mortal Kombat spoiler cast for the feature film. That was a lot of fun. That's a great episode to listen to because you get to see me change Scott's mind inside of 60 minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is pretty fun. And then we had our Legacy episode for Spec Ops The Line, which is a tremendous video game. Then we did a brief little check-in on how COVID has affected the secondhand market for video games and the games industry at large, but we do talk a lot about collecting in the time of COVID, as it were. And then, we did our Resident Evil spoiler cast, which we alluded to earlier, which was a lot of fun and had way more to say than I thought I did.
Yeah, you did.
I think I always forget that I care about Resident Evil.
You forget that you care.
Yeah, it's like I don't. It's like I forget that I care about the lore of the characters, and a new game comes out. I'm like, oh yeah, and Chris is up to this. Oh I see this. Okay. Oh, this is back to the Ashcroft Manor. Crazy. It's just weird. But on our upcoming thing, Scott and I,
this is totally not game related whatsoever.
We're doing a Patreon episode that's not video game related, not even tangentially. You know what? Actually, a little bit. I'm going to tell you why. But we're doing a Friends trivia contest because Scott and I are both obsessed with Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it all. I watch it all the time. I don't know about Scott.
Seriously, like every week, I watch a few episodes.
It's just so good, endlessly good. But I'm saying, you know what? There was a Friends trivia game on PS2.
Was there?
Yeah, so we can pretend that this is this is an allusion to that.
And they also played Twisted Metal 2 in an episode of Friends.
Wow, yeah. Joey had the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I used to have. It wasn't really a board game. It was a trivia game, but came in a board game box. Friends Trivia. If I still have that, I could quiz you guys. But I don't know if I do.
If you do find it, let us know because CB is supposed to come up with our questions for us. I mean, you're welcome to join us. Maybe we can all do this together. But CB has never watched an episode of Friends, and he has been tasked with curating those questions. So maybe you could help him out and join us.
If I find it, I'll let you guys know.
All right. Okay. Let us know.
Infamously, CB hates Friends despite never having seen an episode.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
I feel like most of the people I talk to are like, oh, I don't like Friends. Like, oh, yeah, how much of it did you watch? And they're like, well, I've never really watched it. That's the most common answer.
Yeah.
Just watch Friends. It's really good.
It is
timeless. Timeless.
I don't know about timeless. There's if you read the internet, they talk about how this show hasn't aged well in terms of society, but I still love it.
I'm sure I'll get fired for saying Friends is timeless one day, but
Probably. Probably. Anyway, if that episode, which is upcoming, or any of the other ones that are already published sound interesting, head over to patreon.com/thegocast if you'd like to help contribute to the show, help us keep the lights on over here, and get some extra content from the 3 or 4 of us. We would greatly appreciate it. The website is patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead now, jump into the games that we've actually been playing. Zach, I am looking at this list, and I see a whole lot of remakes and ports.
If you, dear listener, are into ports, this is the week for you.
Seriously.
Whole lot. I don't know why. Mid-May, every publisher was like, dude, we got to get some port money fast.
For real. Before summer hits and nothing comes out.
Right.
We got to tickle those nostalgia glands.
Pretty much.
Oh, man, that's going to be a real barren fall this year, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and nothing else.
Hey, that's catch-up time as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Yeah, play that on Amana. Right at the top, maybe the biggest port of the week, Days Gone, coming to PC on May 18th. That is the motorcycle biker zombie open world game from PlayStation Studios.
I would love it if Days Gone on PC just sells like gangbusters and surpasses sales numbers, and also like, oh, maybe we should have done a Days Gone too.
Yeah, that's what they say. Maybe we should have, but Sony is so weirdly stubborn right now that they would refuse.
Yeah,
for whatever godforsaken reason they're up to.
Yep.
But speaking of ports, Arctic trucker game SnowRunner coming to Switch May 18th,
which is also available on Game Pass right now. As of today. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Game Pass keeps on giving. Another console port of Leisure Suit Larry: Wet Dreams Dry Twice, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Switch May 18th. You either know what that franchise is or you don't.
Yep.
I mean, the title kind of says it all. So.
Yeah, if you had any kids in the car, I'm sorry. PS1 survival horror game Outbreak Endless Nightmares coming to Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC May 19th. It came to PS4 last week. That is a survival horror game. It's like Resident Evil, but endless. It's procedurally generated, so you like find keys, you just kill zombies and stuff. It just seems like a neat idea. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize there were like 6 Outbreak games.
I didn't either.
No idea.
I can see the cover of the first one in my head, though.
Quiet little franchise.
Yeah.
Critically lauded game Sunless Skies gets its Sovereign Edition on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch coming May 19th. Medieval Tavern Simulator coming Crossroads Inn coming Xbox One May 19th. That kind of looks like The Sims in a medieval fantasy world.
Yeah, I thought this game had a really interesting animation. There's something unique about it.
Kind of, it almost looks like cel shaded with like real thick lines.
Yeah, around the characters, which I don't know why I liked, but I did.
I think it's just you don't see it very often anymore.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Let's see here, and then we also have Ariel _Knights with a possessive apostrophe. Ariel Knights Never Yield is coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC May 19th. This terrible title aside, I think it looks like a cool little runner.
It looks like a runner. I don't know. I think I'm over the runner thing, that unless it's Bit Trip.
It's hard to make the sales pitch for a console runner.
Yeah, I agree. It just makes more sense on your phone.
Yeah,
or on a Switch even.
Well, yeah, everything on the Switch, man.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, Elite Dangerous gets its Odyssey expansion on PC, which lets you land planetfall in first person. Has whole first person shooter is added to that space flight simulator game.
Wow.
Okay. May 19th. That looks. Those developers are bold, man. Remember when they like put aliens in the game and didn't tell anybody in the community, so people just started getting abducted mid warp drive?
I didn't know that. That's pretty rad, actually.
That's so cool.
That's sick, man. They're doing some special stuff. The Wild at Heart looks like a very interesting Zelda kind of game. Coming to Series X, Xbox One, and PC May 20th. Scott seemed bothered by the trailer for that one.
I don't know, the way the characters walk look weird.
It's weird. Almost like little like papercraft people.
Yeah, a little bit, but the way their legs move, like they swing back and forth when they're walking up and down. Alyssa's laughing at the way that my hand motions that nobody can see.
I'm laughing at his fingers.
Pretty accurate, those fingers. Rise of the Slime because of PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and Switch May 20th. Dodgeball Battle Royale, which when you really think about it, it's like, how did we not get a Dodgeball Battle Royale before this?
That's true.
Knockout City coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC May 20th. I think, is that on Game Pass? Because I think it's an EA game.
I thought it was on Game Pass. It could have been.
Must be, but it's a battle royale with a price tag, which I think is basically it feels like a death sentence.
Probably
in this market.
Although it's not a shooting one, which may be appealing to parents.
Yeah, well, and I think it's kind of appealing to me. That's just a little bit different.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Splatoon did on Nintendo, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it being on Game Pass, why wouldn't I play it? But they're actually doing a staggered release where the first week I think it is free for everybody.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes to $20, which I think is really smart. So speaking of ports, Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl gets its arcade edition on PS4 and Xbox One May 20th.
Snoochie Booches.
Noogans. Yeah.
Noogans.
I weirdly want to play this. It doesn't look particularly good.
Nope. I just got to play because Jay and Silent Bob.
That's exactly right.
Jay and Silent Bob is so good.
For our age, for us three, we're right in the sweet spot on Jay and Silent Bob, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Miitopia coming to Switch May 21st. I'm not totally confident what that is, but I know it's published by Nintendo, so it'll sell gangbusters and review very well.
I think it looks really dumb.
Yeah, it looks...
I remember
it looking pretty bad. But I just feel like, I think the Nintendo bump is very real.
Yep.
And then from the developers of Coffee Talk comes Rising Hell, a tough as nails 2D action game coming to Xbox One and Switch on May 21st.
That's like
vastly different from Coffee
genre,
yes.
Just like veering like crazily away from the genre of the previous game.
Which I applaud. That's cool.
Yeah.
Expand your horizons. And then also May 21st, Rust finally gets its console edition release on PS4 and Xbox One, which if you had asked me, I would have told you was already on console.
I thought it was too. I'm like, that's way too late for Rust to be.
Yeah, so I don't know.
No way.
Maybe it was on there like early access or something, because I know Xbox has the preview program. But this is the official release, and I assume it'll be a lot less naked.
Probably.
Rust's quite faint. I feel like that's how it got big on YouTube at first.
Oh yeah.
I really think so.
Yep. Most of these battle royales became popular because of YouTube, I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what's sticking out to you guys this week?
Not much.
Yeah, I agree with Scott.
I mean, Days Gone is up there. I still need to play that game, but I'm not going to play it on PC.
It's fun.
No, I know.
Perfect,
it's on my summer list. Although I feel like I said this last year and nothing got done, but this year is going to be devoted to backlog this summer. And Days Gone is one of those.
If you choose to play Days Gone, you get like 40 hours of Sam Witwer's beautiful face.
There you go.
It's true. That is a major plus.
See, Alyssa understands.
It's one of Zack's man crushes. That is, he's not not ashamed to let us all know.
You have good taste, Zack.
Thank you. He's a charmer.
He is.
Yeah. And he's got a little chin dimple, which normally I would be which not be a big fan of, but it really works on him.
It does work on him. It does.
Yeah. As for me, I really think Knockout City might be the standout game for me this week.
Oh, you're probably right. We're probably gonna have to play that together too, just to.
Well, we don't get a lot of opportunities to play games together.
I know.
May as well jump on the new Dodgeball release, But
yeah.
I could play that. I could play some tomorrow. Just throwing that out there.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's just it's something a little bit different. I don't imagine I'm going to get in deep. I'm probably not going to max out the level cap of Knockout City or anything.
You're not going to get prestige.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to enter any tournaments or go to the streaming feature. But I thought the trailer looked pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. There's a soundtrack available on Spotify, and I know you don't care about music as much as I do, but I checked out the music, and it was pretty cool.
Is it like composed, or is it like licensed tracks?
It's like composed.
Okay.
Like I mean, from what I can tell, it sounded like menu music the first couple tracks I listened to, so it's not, I didn't hear it.
Right,
bunch of the.
I don't know if we were getting into like jet grind radio or anything crazy like that.
No, to my knowledge, it looks like a score.
Okay,
as it were.
Yes, so. Score, I guess, was the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey,
Yes, sir.
You've been playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on Xbox Series X, which I think is it. You got the native Series X version, not the Xbox One version.
I don't think it matters, does it, with Xbox? I thought that was...
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the smart delivery system. You're
smart
correct.
delivery. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, I'm playing whichever the best one that my console can handle, which I've got the Series X, so it's looking as good as it can. I will say the biggest thing I've noticed, keep in mind, it's been years since I tried playing Mass Effect 1, but I will tell you the loading screens on this thing, on my Xbox Series X, feel negligible. Remember, I feel like everybody complained about the elevators in the original Mass Effect. I have not spent more than 5 seconds in an elevator, man.
They talked about that in a preview interview I read, where they had to actually extend the elevator load so that the dialogue could play.
Yeah, like it's because they have like news stations or something that are playing something.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Yeah, you're probably not far enough into the game, but the you'll get a lot of banter between your party members there.
Sometimes I'm off the main planet or whatever.
Okay.
So.
But they'll like start remarking upon the actual main plots. I think it's good. It's just, on the 360, there would then be 25 seconds of utter silence in the elevator afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's noticeably different, which is very nice. I'm only playing Mass Effect 1. I'm being stubborn and wanting to finish Mass Effect before I go to Mass Effect 2. But after playing, go ahead.
I think Mass Effect 1 presents its lore the best.
Okay.
It almost feels Star Trek, like the most Star Trek. Now that I've seen Star Trek, wow, I didn't even think about my brain doing this. Sorry. That's like the most Star Trek of the three.
Okay.
Where it feels more exploratory and you're really like learning about things, because Mass Effect 2 just turns into a sci-fi action movie, suicide mission, balls to the walls, which is great. Don't get me wrong.
I like it. This game is very slow paced, especially if you are a complete all the stuff before moving on person like I am. I don't know if you remember, but there are these, I can't remember what they call them. Keepers, is that what they're called? The little machines that like you got to go find them and scan them or whatever. I'm obsessed with finding all of them, and I have no way to know if I have them all, or maybe there's a tracker and I don't know it, but I don't know if it does anything for me, but I don't know. I read somebody's tweet that said they were starting it over and they were 15 hours into the game and they did everything they possibly could and they were like level 34 before they even went to the second planet. And I'm like, I want to be that guy, but I don't
you want to. Oh, that's right. You like to feel like a god.
I do, dude. I love just to like go through and blast through stuff. But I will say, and again, I don't know how much of this is different from the original because it's been so long. The combat, man, is not fun.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I've been looking at people's reactions. They're all like, "Man, it's so much better than the original combat."
Maybe it is, but there's something about shooting an enemy and them having no reaction to your fire until they die. Like they just kind of strafe and go around, and you shoot them, and you don't like see anything ricochet off of them. You don't see like your bullet just disappears. And they don't react until they're dead, and then it's done.
Quick, Alyssa, did you play the original trilogy?
I did, but it's been so long that I've forgotten some things. And
okay, so I would bet money, that I'm remembering correctly, that in the original game it was even worse because your shots were RNG, like it was a dice roll deciding if your shots hit or not behind the scenes. So you could have dead sights on somebody, and it would just miss. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world.
That feels like that's happening. So,
I also remember what you're saying. Like, there's no weight to the shots at all in the first Mass Effect. Like, there's no reaction from the enemies. They just keep moving unhindered until their life bar goes away.
And they just kind of slowly crumple to the ground.
Down, yeah. I'm having flashbacks right now.
I don't know. The storytelling is good. I feel like this is a game that I can't play when I'm sleepy. I hate to tell you this, Zack, but I fell asleep during the forest section of Nier the other night when I had to do all that reading.
Yeah, well, according to our Discord server, you might not be the only one.
I mean, but here's the thing: I really enjoyed that section, but like just that much reading and not doing anything for a while gets old. And then like in Mass Effect, when I'm having a conversation, I can't help it I have to hit every branching conversation to see what like piece of information I don't have.
And I really respect Mass Effect for the information being in a separate conversation circle.
Right, like you go, okay, here's the sub conversation tree or whatever you want to call it.
Because as I'm playing another BioWare game, KOTOR, like there are times where I think I'm asking information, but I actually move the dialogue along where I wanted to ask more questions, and I'm like you, I have to ask every single piece of question.
I do too.
Even though it makes for the least natural conversation in the world.
Oh yeah, totally. I sometimes I'll repeat stuff, and like we just had this conversation, but I missed something. I don't know. I'm still learning the universe because I haven't been there like everybody else has. So I can't even remember the names of the races right now. But I'm fascinated by the one race of the aliens that like have this really low voice, and they always like preface every sentence with what emotion that they're trying to deliver that sentence. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Starts with like an E. I
can't
remember the name of the
someone's yelling at me right now for not remembering, but I love that race for some reason.
I was all in on Mass Effect, and the ending of the trilogy leaves such a bad taste in my mouth that I just totally disconnected myself afterwards.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm not. I mean, some people are fine with the ending. I was not.
I will see when I get there. I think I've had it ruined for me, but I still want to. I want to get it to at least 2. So I'm vowing here and there that I will either finish 1 and start 2, or I'm going to do the DLC thing or something and have choices made for me and go to 2 because, I don't know.
It's kind of a weird trilogy because I think 2 is an absolute. It's like a stone cold stunner of a game, and then 3 and 1 are okay. It's a really weird trilogy for me.
But I'll be okay with 3 being okay if it plays better than 1.
Sure does.
It does, yeah.
Because 3 almost. I know this sounds like really bad. Like I don't mean to talk bad about the game because it looks great and the load times and stuff are way better, but it controls like a previous gen game, like pre Xbox 360 to me. It feels like I'm playing like an Xbox game.
Yeah, that checks out with my memory of ME1.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I'm not.
You like Saren? Pretty great villain.
He is. I don't understand the politics behind why they're all like just okay with him and they don't believe anybody. We saw an eyewitness of him killing this guy. Well, that's one person, and like, wait, what? We're not going to take the word of one person that was under distress, on this when he killed somebody. He could be making it. What?
He's the best of the best, man. You can't. I know. You can't just take your best guy down like that.
I feel like I became a Spectre very quickly. Like that was a big deal that I was the first human Spectre, and it just happened very fast.
Well, there was. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but okay. There's the first game has a great story. Just it's not great to play. I think you'll like 2 though. I can't imagine you'll not like it 2.
All right, I'm gonna get there. So,
are you playing a boy or a girl?
I am playing a boy, a male character.
A man.
Male shep.
Right. Well, I know the internet loves femshep.
I actually went to you and asked you how you did it, and you said and you said you played mostly male. So
yeah, I do. I mean, I will admit Jennifer Hale is a better voice actor than Mark Meer. I can admit that, but it's just when I'm in that kind of role playing game with these kind of decisions we'll talk about later. Like I want to feel more in the role, I guess.
Gotcha.
And I feel like a man. So.
And I've always played as femshep, so.
Have you?
Yeah, I love femshep.
She is so much fun when you go renegade.
I've never gone renegade. I can't make myself do it.
I guess we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
we will. Yeah. So yeah, I imagine I'll be talking about that for weeks and weeks. As long as Zack has been talking about KOTOR, I'll be talking about Mass Effect probably. But
right,
I need to finish a BioWare game. I really need to. Like it's never happened, so Mass Effect needs to be the one that I do. At least Mass Effect 1 and 2, or at least 2. We'll say.
I think I've beaten every BioWare game except, well, not Anthem, because come on, but outside of Mass Effect Andromeda. Which I never even started.
You know what's funny? I did start Andromeda.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I've owned it for a long time now.
I finished it.
Did you? Did you like it?
I liked it. It's not the best out of the series, but I had fun with it.
I had my red flags were raised in the preview cycle when like most of the interviews they were talking about how much effort they put into the sex scenes. And I was like, this can't be good for the game if this is their marketing tactic.
If you're putting that much money and focus on that.
Yeah, like
I don't even remember the sex scenes.
I did YouTube them maybe once. And they are impressive, I will say. But it is funny. I was like, you guys probably don't want it. If you guys are trying to not talk about the combat and point it towards the direction of banging aliens, I'm a little more cautious about playing your game.
YouTube.com. Search bar Andromeda.
Yeah. R18.
All right, so I will report back more on Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but
love to hear more. As you
for sure. I it's just that it's going to take me some time. This is going to be a while.
Don't rush it.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to, but I'm going to play a little bit each week. It's going to be part of my rotation. I'm just going to sit down and play for a few hours each week.
That's smart. Yeah, like Wednesday night, 3 hours of Mass Effect.
I wish I could commit to a video game like that, like have a schedule.
That'd be nice.
And another 3 weeks, man. School's out in another 3 or 4 weeks.
You're 15 years late to the party or whatever it is, so you can take your time.
I love that, like we were talking about Patreon episodes, and you're like, let's talk about our favorite BioWare characters or Mass Effect. Like, dude, I have not played one.
Which hurts to hear.
I know. I'm trying to remedy that, man. But
their name used to mean something, man. It really did.
But they don't anymore? Because of the whole Andromeda thing?
Andromeda and then Anthem.
Anthem.
Anthem. I forgot about Anthem.
I guess some of them ignored it, but like I really didn't like Inquisition very much.
Oh, I loved Inquisition.
I love the story, but the gameplay was Skyrim, but somehow worse, and I don't even like Skyrim's gameplay.
You don't like Skyrim's gameplay?
No, I've talked about this. I'm sorry, everybody. I played 30 hours of it. I gave it a shake.
I played a lot more than that, and I feel like I did barely scratched the surface of Skyrim. And I forgot how to play at this point, so I've done it again. I do that every time with Skyrim. I played Inquisition, man. I played that for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that game works at all.
I would not recommend stepping into the third Dragon Age.
Yeah. I tried the first one, and I just did not make any sense to me. So and it was aged at that point. That game looks like a early 360 game.
Well, get ready to hear more about Dragon Age coming up on this very episode.
Okay, I imagine that would be the case. But anyway, let's move on to a game that Alyssa's been playing. It is a full-motion video game called Dark Nights with Poe and Munro. I am interested because I am hearing a lot of buzz about this game, and your written review was quite high. What is going on with this game that makes it so good?
It's just absolutely fantastic. It's the best FMV game I've ever played, which I haven't played that many, but it is the best one.
I'm sorry,
she's played one other one.
Didn't mean to interrupt Alyssa, but Scott and I both just did the blinking white guy meme together.
We did. Didn't even mean to. It was both like.
I'm sorry, Alyssa. You were saying.
Anyway, it's really well done, and it really felt like I was watching a TV show that had interactive elements, and the actors are great. Every choice felt important, and I was never sure if I made the right choice. I was always like, do I choose the apple or the orange? Do I go with this or this? And it felt like it changed the story. Every single choice changes the story in a different way. And it's 6 episodes. Each one is kind of a different genre, different storyline, but they connect with Poe and Munro, who are radio show hosts. They have good chemistry. It feels like the Twilight Zone, but video game. And I fell head over heels for it. And each episode's only about 30 minutes long, so super easy just to play in 1 or 2 sittings. And then the replay value is insane because you can make different choices. I just was very, very impressed by this game.
So are we talking like heavy rain level of permutations here and choices, or?
I would say story-wise, yes, but you don't have to do the lobster claw with the controller or anything like that.
Yeah. Wow, that classic.
Jason!
I think about when you have to get through the electric wires and you have to press 16 buttons at once.
Yeah, no, my hands.
Someone walked in the room like, what are you doing? I'm playing a video game.
That's how you play. Oh, there's a game that's aged poorly.
Yes, that aged poorly like the month after it came out. Oh, but I loved it. At its release, that was a great game. Anyway, what's the story going on here? I know you said Twilight Zone, radio host. What's the draw?
Well, it's pretty much Poe and Munro. They host Radio August, which is the name of their radio show. And each episode begins with them hosting the show. They take listener questions or they ask the listeners a topic and listeners call in and tell them stuff. And it always leads to something creepy or spooky or just weird. And it feels really good to play it and to watch it. And it just kept me invested every episode. I loved it.
So is each episode like a standalone Twilight Zone episode, or is it all one big long story that continues on through the 6 episodes?
They're pretty much standalone. The last 2 episodes do have a connecting thread, but you don't really have to play them in order, I would say. I would, but you don't have to.
Interesting. Actually, I don't know if I've heard a game doing that before.
I really like that it's truly episodic. That's cool.
Yeah.
It is. And it does allow you to exit the game after you finish an episode if you just are tired, don't want to play anymore.
That's great.
Exit the episode, come back later to go on to the next one. There's an intro for every episode, just like a normal TV show. There's credits at the end, like, regular TV show. It's very high quality.
That's really cool. What was that Black Mirror episode that was on Netflix? Where you had like the choose your own adventure stuff in it.
Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that because it's, FMV, if you're not following, that's full motion video. So it's an interactive television show. And that sounds super intriguing.
Well, it sounds a lot better than Bandersnatch, that's for sure.
I heard
it is
bad
better than
things about
Bandersnatch. I will say this is better than Bandersnatch.
Yeah, I think so. Your review really sold me on Poe and Munro, but I gotta ask a pressing question. Can I make them kiss?
I didn't get them to kiss, but it's a possible storyline.
Okay, that's exciting to me. I'm a sucker for love.
Well, I definitely felt some love between them.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe if you choose different choices, you might get some hate or more passionate love. I don't know.
Well, if you choose an orange over an apple, you should get a little bit of hate.
I did choose the orange over the apple, nothing happened. So
how could you do this?
Mild spoiler.
What do you have against oranges, man?
They're fine, but if I got an apple right next to them, you're gonna just slum it with an orange?
No, I disagree. I would take an orange over an apple any day.
Oh, me too.
Oh my god, you guys are crazy. First of all, I had no idea I was outvoted here.
I'm sure the publishers are like, thank God they're talking about oranges and apples during this review.
Hey,
Dark Knights
Alyssa all but sold me on this game. I'm fairly certain I will play this. My only holdup is that they name drop Dr. Decker in the trailer, so I'm like, should I play Dr. Decker first?
You don't have to. There is one moment in one episode that does tie into Dr. Decker, but you do not have to have previous knowledge, because I did not. But I do want to play it now. It made me want to play Dr. Decker. So, if you know Dr. Decker, it's probably a really nice treat to have that moment, but you do not have to have knowledge.
Good to know. So, safely assume you're going to recommend this one to everybody to play?
Highly recommend.
Awesome.
And if you play it, tell me what you think about it and what your choices were.
I have a feeling CB will be picking this up. He loves FMV games. If one exists on Xbox, he's purchased it. So
there's something about the episodic format that really does intrigue me, though.
Mm-hmm. Especially standalone.
Well, the idea that I could just get into an episode and move on to another game or something, because the idea of sitting down for an FMV game for 4 hours does not sound appealing to me. But
right.
They're a good story in the fact. And I don't know why, man, but learning that they're disconnected intrigues me way more.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that you don't have to wait, a month before the next episode comes out. They're just all there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I like that, too. All right, before we move on, I got a couple other reviews. I sat down with Spencer to talk about Retro Machina. You will not want to miss this game review.
What a colorful review.
Yeah. Please stick around to listen to what Spencer has to say about Retro Machina. Also, Thomas stops by to talk about a point-and-click adventure called Don't Forget Me. We'll put this for you right now. Spency's back. What's up, Spencer?
Hey. I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I haven't talked to you about a game in a while. And you've got this one and another one coming up next week. So we got lots of games in your tray, as it were. But you're here to talk about Retro Machina or Retro Machina. I don't know. I'm
going to go with Retro Machina. It sounds Machina? Sounds better.
I'm just thinking of, Deus Ex Machina or whatever.
Yeah.
Retro Machina from Orbit Studio, and this was provided to us by Uber Strategist. So shout out to that PR firm for hooking you up with a copy. You're playing this on PS4, and I'm really curious because, boy, dungeon crawler, like isometric dungeon crawler with some puzzle elements in combat. Is that a fair assessment?
It pretty much is like a dungeon crawler and a bunch of intricate puzzles. But to go back, I am not actually playing this on the PS4. It's on the Switch.
Oh, my bad.
No, It's okay. The other game that I'm playing is on the PlayStation 4.
That's why I got confused. But it is available on PS4. Just to be, it is because that's the trailer that I was looking at was branded for PS4. So. Well,
it's a good game overall. It's a single player action and exploration game set in a retro futuristic universe. So, it's really good.
It's really good. Okay, because looking at it, you play like a little robot and you're running around. What's the story?
Okay, so you're like this little robot who has a malfunction, and he's like working on. It looks like a conveyor belt type thing, and you have a malfunction, and you're tossed out of the city because they don't want any quote self-aware robots. So they're assuming something is wrong with them, so they're going to toss them out. Gotcha. So as this little robot, you have to overcome detailed puzzles, enemies, and of course, you have to figure out how to get yourself back to the city where you were thrown from, which is, I believe it's a floating metropolis.
Right.
And the world you are in is a long forgotten area with robots and androids lying around, destroyed and rusted. And then there's the ones that are even not rusted that are bad and they are trying to come after you. So they got ones that have like razor blades, ones that have like crazy arms, ones that shoot blasters at you. So there's it's like a whole mix of random robots, but it's really cool because the puzzles are very intricate. I don't even know how well to describe this. It's just, you have to like literally go back multiple times on the same puzzle to make sure you got it right, because if you mess up, you may go to a different area than you're supposed to go, and you have to go back to the start.
So the puzzles actually help with traversal, like opening up different parts of the map, and you like a different switch or different paths?
Yep, different switch for different paths.
Oh.
So I do want to talk about a little bit about the place you're in, because or more so the artistic look of this game, because how do I describe this? You remember back in the 20th century, because we were born in that century.
Sure.
But even before our time, we as a human race thought and dreamed what the future could hold for us. So we thought of flying cars, robots
hoverboards.
Hoverboards, robots that do pretty much everything for us, not just a vacuum robot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had floating metropolises as ideas, and in this game, that's pretty much what it becomes. Is it looks like what we assumed what the future would hold for us
before we watched Back to the Future 2, or before 2015 actually got here, right?
Yeah, right. So I did a little digging on this, and it's actually some of the artistic work of this is based upon some of Jacques Fresco's artistic looks, I guess.
Sure.
Or art. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't, but I think I might know what you're talking about, because the art looks familiar. It almost has that Future Man or Rocketeer vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah, similar to that. So Jacques, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, Jacques Fresco is a futurist. So he dreamed of having people on a specific world where everything was done by robots, even flying cars, trains, things like that. And then all the food and produce was created or artificially inseminated via robots. So that's what would help gear us to the future. That was his future.
Artificially inseminated by robots? Did you? Is that the right word?
I don't know if it's the right word, but I'm going to go with it.
I don't think
I don't think that's the right terminology, but we're going to fly with it.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
I don't think you know what that means. Oh my God.
Inconceivable.
We're just going to fly with it. Leave me alone.
Yeah, okay. Let's just go with it artificially. Oh my goodness. All right. It's a kid's show, man.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
It's a great game overall. Let's just put it that way. It's an amazing game, and I think that if you're into dungeon crawlers and you're into intricate puzzles, this is the game for you.
Talk to me about the combat a little bit, because I see some hack and slash, but I also see some ranged combat. How does that working?
So I don't even know if I really have a ranged attack in this. It's more of just hack and slashing. Mm-hmm. You have it looks like a monkey wrench, and you only get small little glances of it when he's attacking with it, when your little robot's attacking with it. It looks like a monkey wrench, but you get to power him up. You get to make him more strong. You get to have better powers. Like there's this one where you could twirl around with the monkey wrench and attack local robots near you. But sure. I don't believe there is any ranged attacks where I can shoot things from afar.
Okay.
Or attack them from afar.
I must have misinterpreted that from the trailer then. All right. Well,
I was just gonna say there is one cool thing where you do get to use ranged attacks from other robots, not from you though. Not from you personally. Okay. There's like a radio frequency. As a robot, you can like take control of another robot and then control that robot how you see fit. Now that's even more tough because you still have to attack with your guy and move the other guy. And if the other guy gets attacked that you are controlling, it actually hurts you on your health.
Does that affect any of the puzzles as well, or is that just a pure combat thing?
Nope, that helps with the puzzles too, because there are some points where you can't get certain areas where you have to use like these little spiders, and you can use your little radio frequency to get them and move them to a certain spot and open up a door for you, and that's how a lot of the puzzles do work.
All right, so that is Retro Machina, again from Orbit Studios. It sounds like you recommend this one?
I do, yes.
All right. Well, Spencer, thanks so much for stopping by to talk about it. I do appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you. And I will artificially inseminate that. Bye!
Well, hello there, Thomas. How's it going out there in Ireland?
It's going in the right direction, Scott. There's finally some light at the end of the tunnel.
That's good to hear.
For those listening in the future, we are nearing the end of our 5-month lockdown.
Gotcha.
And I got my first shot of the vaccine. So I'm a happy camper. In a couple of weeks, I'll be fully vaccinated. And hopefully I will be able to travel then again in a couple of weeks as well.
Very cool. Well, good luck, man. I know things are starting to shift here a little bit as well. So hopefully in the near future we can return to normalcy. But you are here to talk to us about a game that you've been playing called Don't Forget Me. This is one that you actually asked me to seek out because we know you love your point-and-click adventure games, and this is very much that style of game. It comes from developer The Moon Pirates and was provided to us by a PR rep called by the name of Player2PR, so thanks to them for giving you a shot to play this game. Now, I could tell very little from the trailer of this game. It was only about a 30-second trailer. I have no idea what's going on, so why don't you tell people what Don't Forget Me is about?
Well, it's a point-and-click adventure game without any pointing or clicking. Because you don't play this game with the mouse, you play it with the keyboard.
Okay.
I actually don't know if you can also play it with a controller, but I played it with keyboard. It's very straightforward. You just move your character around, and if you want to interact with something, you press the spacebar. The great thing about this game is not that mechanic. It's a different mechanic, because in this game you play Fran, who ends up at the clinic of Bernard without any memory.
Kind of like a typical video game fare. Wake up someplace with amnesia.
Yeah, exactly. But what this clinic is, it's a place where people can get their memories copied.
Oh, okay. I'm listening.
it's actually very illegal. This is a cyberpunk game, in case people didn't notice yet. And in this future, everybody has a memory chip implanted that records all their memories. However, it is illegal to copy those memories. So Bernard has a service that does that. So, for instance, people want to have the memory of their wedding day immortalized. They can go to Bernard, who will then copy the entire memory of the wedding, send it to you. You don't have that's the funny thing. They don't have a way of actually playing the memories, but it's more like we'll probably get something in the future that will allow us to replay these memories, so people can copy them and then in the future probably have them replayed somehow.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then the cool mechanic here is it's not just somebody sits in a chair and you do that, but you actually get to dive into people's memories by searching for specific words. And if you can get those words from what the person is telling you. So it starts when a person comes into the clinic and you already talk to them. You try to figure out what the memory is that they want to have copied and why, etc., etc. And from what the person is telling you, there are already hints in what you need to look for. So the person sits in the chair. Then you go into a totally different game mode where you see dots on the screen, and those dots represent a memory point. Now, for instance, one of the memory points could be, in the case of the wedding, could be wedding. And if that word is correct, so you type in the word, it's not like you choose from anything, you have to type in the word.
Right.
And if that word is correct, a dot that represents wedding will light up. It will give you a new text. And Bernard will tell you either if it's a dead end or if you can continue. And if you can continue, you will see new dots pop up on the screen. And that's a lot of fun because you feel like a bit of a detective when you're doing that. You're trying to literally connect the dots and get from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, meaning that if you reach the end and you reach the final memory, then you have enough information for Bernard to copy that memory. Since this
that sounds kind of familiar to me. There's a game that I played, and the name is escaping me, but there's a game that I played on my phone where it was similar to that. It was a PC game as well, where you were like in a computer police database trying to uncover a mystery, and you're watching all of these full motion video.
Her Story?
Her Story, yes, that's exactly what it was. It reminds me of that, where you type a word and it gives you a clue for another word. Kind of the same thing here?
Good point. Yeah, Her Story is a lot bigger when it comes to that, and really doesn't really guide you. Here you can ask Bernard for a hint, and he will give you some sort of hint, or at least point you in the right direction. But you do have to pay attention, because I clicked too fast through a piece of dialogue, so I missed where the lady was working, and that was the exact word that I needed to activate everything. So I had to restart a chapter just because I wasn't paying attention. Completely my own fault, but you do have to pay attention here. But it's fun. That is the mechanic. This mechanic makes this game a lot different from any other games that I've played in the genre. And because it's a cyberpunk game, it embraces certain cyberpunk tropes, and of course there is something eerie going on concerning those memory chips. And one of the patients that walks into the clinic that needs help with something that draws you into a bigger plot. There are also some things like there was this one cool thing where I was searching in someone's memory for the right words. I typed in a word, but that word triggered some kind of emergency state. And when that happened, the screen went red, and I went into a different part of the machine. And it worked in the same way, but it was limited. Like you only had 10 tries. You could only make like an X number of mistakes. So if you made 5 mistakes, then he would kick you out, and you would have to try again. So there was a bit of an extra stake there to try and find that memory, because in the normal part you can try as many times as you want, as long as you can have 20 wrong guesses. And then 1 right guess, and that right guess will bring you further. But in that other state, you have to try and get everything right at once because you can only fail so many times and then you have to start over again.
Gotcha. That's what I think is interesting about this genre. I know you're way more into it than I am, but I feel like they keep iterating on it and making it and finding new ways to keep it fresh and interesting. So kudos to the Moon Pirates for doing that. Sounds like you enjoyed this game and would recommend it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cyberpunk games going on at the moment, which is cool because I love cyberpunk as a genre. And especially cyberpunk games with pixel art lend themselves that somehow just works like a charm for me. Mm-hmm. I love pixel art, love cyberpunk. I love point and click adventures, story driven adventures. So this works very well for me. The only point of criticism I have is that the ending felt very abrupt.
Okay.
I actually talked to the devs about this, and they said they added something like a sort of a cutscene at the end to make the ending a bit more
final.
A bit more final. Yeah, maybe that's a good word. My main gripe with that was that I wanted to play more. The game felt short to me.
Do you get the impression there's going to be more, or
no? I just wanted to play. I wanted to. I think the story was good. It is a very cyberpunk story. Mm-hmm. I can't get into it because I would have to spoil it. But I just wanted to play more. I wanted to have a bit more of those memory quests and stuff like that. The ones
that's
you
kind
get
of cool though. When the game leaves you wanting for more, that's the mark of a good game.
Definitely. I hope they will return to this in the future, and I hope a lot of people will play it. And I just have to be honest that I said that I felt that the ending felt a bit abrupt to me. I wanted there to be more. That is the only real point of criticism I have. It is a challenging game, not too challenging. As I said, you have to pay attention to what the people are saying, but you kind of, why are you playing a game if you're not? I mean, it's not like you're playing Animal Crossing or anything where you want to be in the story. And I love the story. I love the ideas, and I really, really digged the memory mechanic with the memory chair and everything that's happening there.
All right, very cool. If that sounds interesting to everybody, be sure to check out the trailer, which can be found in the show notes for this episode. The game, again, is called Don't Forget Me. It sounds like Thomas recommends it, man. So really appreciate you checking that out, man. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see more of the Moon Pirates output.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. You have a wonderful rest of your day, all right?
I will. I'm going to be playing Subnautica's Below Zero later today, so on my brand new Switch.
There you go. Congrats on the new Switch, man. I'm going to have to talk to you more about Subnautica. I need to play that game. I got to figure out what everybody's talking about.
You really do. And Subnautica Below Zero, even though I've only played it for like a couple of hours, it adds some new stuff that makes it feel like its own thing. It's not like it's the same game transported to a cold area. No, they do add some new mechanics and new things to new monsters, new leviathans, everything. It's really looking forward to literally diving back into the ocean.
There you go, man. I'll have fun. We'll talk to you later, all right?
Okay, bye-bye.
And there you have it. All right. No new Facebook members this week, but if you'd like to join the community, head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Our Discord is live and thriving. There's a link to that in our show notes if you'd like to come join the community over there. Lots of good conversations going on. Also, drop us a review on Apple Podcasts if you get a chance. We would appreciate it. Or any podcast catcher app that you're using. It helps us get the word out about the Gaming Outsider and get more people listening. Also, our website is thegamingoutsider.com, where you can find all of our episodes and all of our written content, including the following. First off, Spencer's review of Unruly Heroes, which he talked about a couple weeks ago. Zack's editorial on mid-tier games deserving a resurgence. Very interesting read. Also, his review of Press Reset, which is a book written by Jason Schreier. Kevin's review of Knights of San Francisco. Zack's review of Resident Evil Village, and then Sean's review of The Colonists, all of which we've talked about in past episodes. Please give those a read. We really put a lot of work into getting that content out there, and we hope that you enjoy it. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. So I just got done talking about Mass Effect, which obviously, we didn't talk about it during the review, but it has a morality system built into it. So it seemed like a great time to talk about games that feature this kind of system. You know what I'm talking about, where you're faced with decisions that will cause some kind of meter to move towards a good side or an evil side. And I want to give a shout out to our own Christina Flores, who came up with this idea for the topic after reading an article on Wired about this very topic. So thank you very much. We hadn't done this one, realize, in 4 years since we talked about this. So I was very excited to hop back into this one. But before we get into like specific games, I want to know how you guys feel about this mechanic in a game. Do you enjoy it? Does it annoy you? Are you indifferent? What do you think? Zach, start with you.
You know, I think this is a case where my tastes have changed. Because when I was younger, I did love the morality system. You know, it's cool. Or even Fallout's karma system was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
But as I get older, and I think games have mostly moved away from this, but the idea of like good choice, evil choice it doesn't really interest me as much.
It feels like a last generation, not last generation, last generation.
Yeah, and it's more like the feedback almost for me, where, you know, I like, give me the decisions, but just don't tell me what it means. Right, like playing KOTOR is a great reminder that, you know, whenever you do something, you get light side points.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it almost, I guess it's almost something juvenile in the idea that like a moral decision can be broken down so simply into either this is good or this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, in the case of that game, like the evil stuff is almost comically over the top.
Right.
You know, which, you know, like you have poor beggars like, can I have $5? It's like, well, instead I'm going to force lightning him to death. Like,
that's really
man.
a choice you could do?
No, that's an example.
Okay.
But it does get that kind of egregious. That's not to say it can't work. It's just, for me, I like a little bit more gray, you know. And I think video games are going that way.
You mean how life is?
Right. Or you know, I want to say Metro Exodus might have done this, where like when you don't even know you're making a decision.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's super cool. I think actually Black Ops 2 did this very well, which is rare for me to be praising a Call of Duty game, but it was like, I remember there's like a chase scene in the game. You can either catch a guy or not, but the game doesn't like tell you that you're branching the narrative. And it just happens. And then when you get to the end of the game, it does kind of like surface all the points where a decision was made and you didn't even know you were making it.
Right.
And that was so cool.
I think more games need to do it that way, where you don't even know that you have a branching narrative until the end.
I mean, I did not know.
Yeah.
For instance.
I think Spec Ops did it really well too, because you'd get one of two endings depending on your actions.
You talking about Spec Ops: The Line?
Mm-hmm.
Because we just did that one. I remember one decision
Was
the hanging corpses. You're talking about the very end.
Well, there's also the civilian crowd.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, I mean, but the decisions at the end do make kind of a big impact.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think the binary thing does kind of annoy me now. Like BioShock, where it's like, are you gonna harvest this child or save it? Like that's not really a choice to me. And you know, maybe it's just because I get so into the stories where I'm like, I'm not even gonna entertain the idea of doing the evil thing.
Yeah, but it also feels like a video game at that point, because you're doing it for the meter instead of this is what I want my character to do. You know what I mean? Like I especially in the game where you're replaying it, like, okay, this run I'm going to go through and I'm going to save all of the little girls. And then the next time I have to consciously make a decision to harvest all of these little girls, which sounds horrible to say.
Yeah, and you know, like a game like Infamous or something, it's just going to boil down into one of two endings anyway, so it benefits you to do either all the way good or all the way evil, so it doesn't really feel like, you know, my heartstrings are really being tugged at in any kind of way.
Well, especially because in Infamous, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't really get the super cool powers on either side unless you lean on just that one side. Right,
and that's how it works in Mass Effect and Knights of the Old Republic, too. Like, you only get the best perks by going one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. I will say that in Mass Effect, it does feel it doesn't feel quite black and white with some of the dialogue stuff. I mean, sometimes you just kind of say what you want to say. You know what I mean? Without it being like a total jerk. Or without being angelically good.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering, but I mean, doesn't Mass Effect go all the way to do like on top is always a Paragon and on bottom is always Renegade?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
It feels pretty.
I haven't come into anything super pivotal story-wise. Most of it's just been like talking to people. There's been a couple times where, but I swear some of that dialogue, I don't even know if it's making a difference if I'm making it or not.
I will say, Mass Effect's credit, there are decisions you're making where it's not so much moralistic as like practical, like where there is no good answer or right answer. Actually, now that I think about some of the Mass Effect 1 especially, I think is pretty good about making some choices where either choice feels good or evil. And
you don't know which one is which until after you choose it and you see either I got Paragon points or
then you get a stupid XP boost towards Renegade or whatever. But up until then, it really is kind of a little push and pull.
Interesting. Anything more you want to add, Zach? Or?
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, Troy wrote into something. I don't think I would have considered this if he didn't write in, but Troy Hyman said, I think it's even tougher when you don't have a choice and you aren't normally a violent person. Thinking specifically a certain hospital scene in a certain game sequel invoked such emotion I had to record it just because it was harder each time to push the button, which you had no choice in doing. Still gives me chills and not fun feelings watching it back.
Yep,
he's right.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, which is funny, which is interesting because I also don't really think of myself as a violent person, but I was all about pressing that button.
I say I wasn't,
but there's a point later in the game where I just couldn't really get myself to press the button, even though it was the only way to progress the story.
At the very end in
the
water?
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
I didn't want to either. I know what game it is.
Yeah, I guess I lied because I did do it, but it felt, at first I was trying to find any way out of it.
Yep.
And I think he makes an interesting point. I actually think it's really powerful when the games make you press a button. There's, that doorway you're talking about in Nier, they make you press the button. They make you do something you don't want to necessarily do.
You know what one that reminds me of, Zach? And I can't spoil it because we played this together, but there's a moment in It Takes Two.
Yes.
That was very difficult for us to do.
It was harrowing, man. Gave me nightmares.
I don't know if you've played that yet, Alyssa.
I haven't.
You need to play that game. First off, it is charming as hell.
Except for this part that we just talked about.
Except for this part we're talking about. Which is weird that I felt that icky about this game, about like things that aren't real. There was something highly disturbing about this one particular scene, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about when and if you play it. But yeah.
I don't know if you and Sean Fuller, host of Horribly Awkward, play a lot of games together, but that would be a fun one for you two to do.
Seriously,
it would be fun,
and it's cheap. It's only like $30. I saw the other day. So
only one person has to buy it.
Yeah,
but it also calls to mind Shadow of the Colossus did this trick very well,
where
you're doing things you don't want to do, and Metal Gear Solid 3 makes you press a square button at the very end of the game that I definitely did not want to press at all.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I haven't played it, but I know what you're talking about because I read up all of the history of those games.
And I
up
think
to 5.
I mean, Troy's right. It's it removes the morality of it. Like, this is going to happen whether you want to or not. And when you don't want it to happen, like it really gets at me. Because the interactive and powerful nature of video games, right? Like, pressing the button means a lot. So when you're forced to press the button that operates the trigger of your gun when you don't want to, it hurts.
Yeah, I agree. Good point. Thanks for that, Troy. Let's see, Alyssa, what do you think? How do you feel about these systems?
I feel pretty much the same way Zack does. I used to love the morality system, even though I have never been evil. I cannot do it. I will go in being like, okay, I'm going to do the evil route, and I just go good. I'm too nice. I can't be mean, even in a video game.
I ran into the same problem in my youthful years.
You've since changed?
No, that was not I'm sorry. Well, but like I tried to do a dark side run in Knights of the Old Republic, but I couldn't. They make you do some horrendous stuff near the end of the game, and I just couldn't do it. So I reloaded my save because I felt so guilty, and just redid the whole. I deleted it and redid the whole game as a good guy.
Well, so do you like these systems, Alyssa, or do they bother you because you can't do anything?
In a way, it does bother me that I just morally cannot go the evil route. I just can't do it. I like it more when a game has choices that you don't necessarily know if your outcome is going to be good or bad, and then you wonder, did I make the right choice? and then you find out if you did or didn't. I just think that's a better way, because I don't feel as forced down one path that way.
So you don't feel forced, even though you know you're going to choose good anyway?
I do feel forced, because I know I'm going to choose good.
Right. That's kind of how I am. I don't mean to sound like I'm challenging you. I'm genuinely trying to get it, because I want to see if we're on the same page. Because it's almost like the game is choosing for you. Not that the game is sentient and knows who you are, but it's going to know there's going to be some people that are going to instinctively choose good and some people that are going to instinctively choose bad. So in a way, you almost don't have a choice, even though you do.
That's true, yeah.
Wow,
I feel the same way.
Are we having a debate about the very nature of free will right now?
Yeah. This could get really deep, man.
Yeah. We're all just puppets.
I'm pulling the strings. Anyway, go on, Alyssa. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's pretty much it. I get stuck on the good moral path, and I'd rather just not know my options and just play the game and have events unfold. Okay, so
you'd rather it just be like a linear experience in terms of like you want to be told a story. You're not as invested in creating the character a certain way. You just want to play as a written character story. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. That's interesting. I'm actually very similar, because as much as I say I like choose your own adventure books, I like being a part of it. I like being a part of it in that I am acting as a role. Sometimes whenever I get into the am I playing as this character, or am I playing the embodiment of myself within this character, right? And I tend to prefer to follow an author's story instead of my own, because I automatically assume that whoever wrote this game is a much better writer than I ever will be. And I want to experience their story, not my story. Now, granted, they wrote both stories, right?
Yeah.
But which one is the one that they truly had in their head? You know what I mean? I want to go the way that they would have written this story if they had only written it one way. So, is that me saying that I don't like it? No, I actually kind of enjoy it from the aspect of replayability. Sometimes it's fun to go through and play the other way just to see how the story shakes out. It's almost like getting to read a book for the second time where some of the events are slightly different. So that can be fun. One of my favorite books of all time is Ender's Game. And there was a sequel to Ender's Game where the entire story was told from a different character's perspective, which I thought was fascinating. It was a way for me to re-experience that book again, knowing the surprises, knowing what's going to happen, but seeing it from a different point of view was a fascinating way to do it. I almost wish games would do that. Give me a sequel, but it not being a sequel, give me the same story, but from another like non-playable character or side character that we knew a little bit. Wouldn't that be a fascinating way to do a sequel or a reboot or remaster? Why hasn't that been done?
I mean, you just got to play New Game Plus on every game you play. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. That's true. So, I don't love them. I don't hate them. I feel I've changed a little bit. I really liked the dichotomy of good or bad when I was younger, because I had a lot of time to go through and replay these games and see both ways. Now I just want to get through it. You know what I mean? And anything that gives me more time causes me anxiety. Because
that's a great point. Like, yeah, I can entertain the idea that I want to replay this game after I beat it, but I know I'm not going to.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when this is the only game I was going to have for a couple months, and I needed to stretch that out until I could afford another one. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. Now I can't keep up, just because things like Game Pass and there's just so many games out there. I just can't keep up. So
yeah, but I am with you guys. I do prefer the authored story more than the choice driven one. I always feel like the themes are a little stronger that way, and that's why growing up I played a bunch of Western RPGs, but I always did prefer the JRPGs because of it.
Mm-hmm. And doesn't it feel like sometimes the story feels a bit forced in its written execution, because the writer is being forced to do two divergent ways to do the story?
What?
So it never feels natural.
And there are like in the case of KOTOR, again, I guess, like, it's just, when you're playing it, it's just so obvious that the light side of the story is given so much more weight and thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just so obvious that this is the way it's supposed to go, and then they circle back and then do the dark side version, So
Right.
I'm always like, whenever I do the choices, I'm like, the author in their head certainly has a way that they would prefer this plays out.
And that's the story I want to follow.
Right, and that's because that's going to be, that's the one they're going to write the most passionately.
What's interesting to me is in some of our comments from our listeners were straight up, yeah, this is a video game. I'm going to be bad because I can't do this in real life.
Cannot wrap my head around that.
Can't either. I can't.
I can't either. And what's interesting is I feel like we're in the minority of that because a lot of people are like, yeah, this is like cathartic release for me. And, to some degree, I get that. We all played God of War. That game was cathartic as hell, right?
And it was authored, though.
It was authored, true. But, yeah, okay, I see your point.
No, but I mean, you're saying, like, video games as a release, but I guess I just, because of the very nature of the way we interact with games, reviewing them and playing them and caring about them as an art form, I guess. Like, it's just it's just not how, I can't engage with that way. Like, in Red Dead, if you're shooting, you have, like, a shootout in a town or whatever, and a stray bullet hits an NPC, I feel bad about it.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
Or if I kill a horse, I'm like,
oh,
no!
My God, yeah, I feel...
It tears me apart.
And I hate...
Whereas people will go in and just, like, wipe out a town to do that intentionally, and I'm like, you heartless bastard.
Yeah, how can you
And they're video games, they're sprites. Or not sprites, but pixels. Voxels.
Yeah, I mean, I get that they're just ones and zeros ultimately, but...
Right.
I am... if I'm playing as John Marston, I want to interact with the world the way John Marston would.
Mm-hmm.
And he would not shoot everybody in the head because he lost at blackjack.
I mean, he knew words like implore. Yeah, he obviously had some degree of intelligence, right?
That really does stick with you.
I know. I don't know why. It was probably because the dude at the top was like, implore?
Well, I implore you.
Yeah. Well, Alyssa, we know where you land. Obviously, you don't have an evil bone in your body. But do you have anything more you want to add about why you choose the good side so much?
I really don't know why. I guess just because I've always just been really. I try to be nice, and I can't be mean.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad if I get snappy at someone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's an accident.
Oh, dude, I am the worst when it comes to somebody being upset with me. I have to make things right and fix it immediately. Like, if I do anything to hurt somebody's feelings, I feel horrible for weeks.
Wow.
Did I tell this?
I do too. Yeah.
Did I tell this story about what I did to a coworker once? Have I told you this on this podcast before?
It's a pretty broad setup, but I don't think so.
So I did the thing where you put lotion in the handset of a phone, so that when they go to answer it, they get lotion in their ear. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Yeah, I did that to a coworker, and she was so mad at me. It was just I thought it was a cute little prank, and she didn't speak to me for days. And I sat right next to her, she was in the cubicle right next to me, and I felt so bad that I bought her flowers and had them delivered to work, and we were sitting right next to each other. We couldn't talk about it, but
did the flowers work? Did she forgive you?
Eventually, yes. Like that day, we finally talked about it. She emailed me from next the cubicle over to we talked about it that way, which is really funny to me. But
I mean, that's the way human interaction's going, right?
It is. I'm very much let's just talk it out and let's fix it. Who cares? I'm tired of being mad. I'm tired of feeling bad. I just want to move on, and it really bothers me when people want to bottle it up and.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's getting off topic, but it is amazing as you get older how much you learn that, if you just address something, it goes away.
Seriously. That's what I teach to my students. Conflict resolution.
You build it up in your head forever, and then, both sides are just being really dumb, and then really all anybody wants is just to hear I'm sorry from each other anyway.
Right. Yeah.
It's goofy. Life lessons, everyone.
Exactly. Let's see. I had a comment I wanted to share with you guys from Christina Flores, who, again, came up with this topic. She said, instinctually, I make decisions as close to how I would in real life. I like the games that tell you what percentage of people made the same choice or choices. Depending on the game, I might play through a second time and make different decisions to see if I'll get a different outcome. However, it is very difficult to make an inherently evil decision. It gets even more challenging when the choices you're presented with both seem wrong, especially combined with a timer. What choice will you make in the heat of the moment when you know it could make a significant impact on the rest of your story? For instance, in Detroit Become Human, your choice might end the character's storyline right then and there. What was fascinating about the article was their mention that many people are able to dissociate their interests by making any decisions since they know it's just a game. I wish I could do that, but it makes me walk around feeling guilty. And I think that's kind of how all three of us feel. Yeah. Even though it's a game and we can't detach because we're like that invested in what's going on.
I mean, when I'm playing Spider-Man and I ignore a crime call, I feel guilty.
Yeah. And that's just like randomly happening, man. That's like
but I'm Spider-Man. I'm supposed to help these people.
Yeah,
they're relying on me.
But the timer thing, though, also high pressure, and I have made the wrong choice before, and I'm like, no, if I wasn't pressured, I would have been nice.
Well, like remember games like Walking Dead that did that,
yes.
Where you had a timer to do it, but there was no good decision because it was like, which person are you going to let experience a grisly death? Which of the two you choose? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I remember there's a great decision in The Walking Dead season 2, minor spoilers, where a character is being beaten to death. And they ask you, because you're playing as Clementine, they ask you to leave the room, and I made that little girl sit and watch. I was like, no, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, I bet you did.
She's got to grow up. But those games, I don't think in those same like moral lines, I guess. Like I don't think of them as a morality system that the topic made me think of.
Yeah, that's true. I guess maybe it's not fair to call that a morality choice.
Yeah,
Let me ask you if this one is. Christina mentioned Detroit Become Human. Did I ever tell you about the decision that I made in that game very early on that ended one of the characters' storylines to the point that I didn't see the entire storyline for the rest of the game?
Why did you not reload?
Because that was my chosen story. That was what
fascinating.
I don't remember the character's name. That's how little I played of the character. It was the female android that was protecting the little girl.
Kara?
Kara.
The one for whom the game got greenlit in the first place?
Right. My Kara died in 10 minutes within the game. Because at the beginning, when the daughter is getting like beaten by, I think she's getting abused by her father.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the game. And the father told me, as the android, to stand put and don't move. And I didn't. And the little girl got killed. Like,
wow, what a yes man you are.
And then I got deactivated, and Kara never came back in the rest of the game.
Did the little girl ever show up in the story?
Nope. That whole story was completely void on my playthrough of that game. Because I sat there and listened to that happening upstairs. It was one of the most disturbing things I have ever experienced in a game. And it was very difficult to just sit there and not do it. But I'm like, this can't just end, right? It's got to, like, eventually, Kara's just going to go up there. You know, I'm going to be forced to go up there and do it. And nope.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a moral decision, yes.
The incorrect one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, my game was a third shorter than everybody else's too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know how you like to get through things fast.
Yeah, right. That's how you do it. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. What about you, Zach? I mean, we know you. We know that all three of us go pretty good here. Any more you want to add?
Well, you're talking about, do I tend to follow the good or evil side?
Yeah.
Well, no, I can't. Yeah, I can't do the dark side. And, let me use Daniel Gilmore here as an example. When KOTOR first released on the original Xbox, I played the Dark Jedi path. I almost cried at the end when Karth ran away in disappointment. Since then, I've dedicated my efforts to bettering the humanity of my digital companions. My heart can't handle it any other way.
Nice.
That almost completely is my story. I try to get through the dark side, and I just couldn't do it because, Karth running away is nothing compared to the stuff they make you do. They make you kill a teenage girl, for instance, which games do not often do.
No, I mean, even teenagers, yeah. I mean, little kids for sure.
Yeah, but I guess I was worried about spoiling it for you, Scott. But you're never going to play Darkseid, and let's be really, never play KOTOR anyway. But you use your Darkseid powers to make her best friend kill her.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's brutal.
This is just unbelievable, and I couldn't do it, so I had to reload the whole
Do you hear him challenging me? By the way, he's using his
did.
reverse psychology.
I'm just laying it out there, man.
I mean, that's like 4 BioWare games I have on my plate now. Like literally 4 BioWare games. I am trying, true. Man. So.
Wow. And then just read Aaron Peterson's comment here. He said, I honestly pick whichever decision feels right to me on a moral level, and believe me, that swings wildly depending on the circumstances.
Knowing Aaron, yeah.
Yeah, I understand. They're like, I don't want to jump the gun, but, other games that we've talked about, like Dragon Age Origins, has a pretty cool morality system in that it is not good. The game never tells you that you're good or evil. It is your companion's reactions to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they have an affinity for you that can go up or down depending on your actions.
So-and-so will remember that?
Somewhat, but it's just, it gives you immediate feedback, but it's more like, they have a worldview, and, you're either going in a way that they agree with or they don't. And it's just, it adds a little bit more weight when it's the people closest to you directly judging you.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's true.
Very clever, and it worked very well for that game, but yeah, I remember pretty distinctly, speaking of moral decisions that you make, like I finally catch up to the guy who killed my family or whatever, and as you defeat him in Dragon Age Origins, you have a few different options that you can say, and as he's like asking for your forgiveness slightly or whatever, and so I just did the dialogue choice where I lean in and I was like, just so you know, after I kill you, I'm going to kill your wife and daughter too.
Wow.
It felt pretty great. So I say I
can
understand.
So Zack does have a dark side.
I can understand where he's getting to. Hey, look, man, he killed my family. Now I got to kill his. All right.
But I mean, to me, if the game is that effective to make you a person who normally goes the good path to choose the bad path, how effective is that storytelling?
That's I mean, that's very, very true. And he doesn't know if I'm really going to kill his wife and daughter. I just want him to die thinking
that's true. You don't necessarily have to. You just tell him that you're going to.
I want him to go to hell thinking that he also damned his family. Feels good.
I like that. Alyssa, did you have any comments from the community you wanted to share as well?
I did. Let's see. Gotta find them. Dustin Ridling said, "Evil all the way. Gaming is an escape. Wreak havoc, man."
Dustin. Watch out for Dustin.
Yeah.
And also, Amanda Sink put, "Probably evil. I'll kill people, see who it is that let me hit and how they react and whatnot. I live a morally good life on the day-to-day. It's not of concern when I'm playing a game. I also wonder if the type of character you're playing has any impact on your decisions. If you're playing a ruthless outlaw, you're more inclined to be a ruthless outlaw, and vice versa for the good guy or gal."
See, I can't wrap my head around I can wrap my head around it, but I just don't. My mind doesn't go that way. Like when I, just because I'm a morally good person for the most part in real life, doesn't mean I just want to be the exact opposite in a video game. To me, a video game isn't wish fulfillment for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, it's wish fulfillment in that I don't get to experience these fantastical stories that I do in real life, but that's the wish fulfillment. The wish fulfillment for me isn't being an evil person or a violent person. And I'm not knocking somebody that feels that way. It's just I can't relate.
I'm the same way. Like, if I'm being a ruthless, or the character's a ruthless outlaw, I can't be a ruthless outlaw. I gotta salvage the outlaw and make them a good person.
Gotta be a James Marsden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the actor?
Oh, not James Marsden. John Marsden.
John,
okay. James Marsden.
Not Cyclops.
This is turning into an X-Men podcast. Boy, Yanni, Fabio, I'm getting them all mixed up.
Yeah, where you at, man?
I don't know, man. I'm Yanni. I'm still embarrassed that I mixed that up. Oh my goodness. I had a comment from Michael Bonovich. He said, I always take the hero's path if it's the first time playing a game. I'm not against playing the villain, but playing the good guy just feels right to me. I do have to say, Star Wars KOTOR, dark side choices made me feel dirty. Some of the things you can choose to do in that game are downright diabolical. And Zack already alluded to that as well.
Yeah, it's pretty twisted. I mean, their infamous Second Son, I remember, had a pretty twisted ending as well, though. If you went evil.
I did both. I don't remember what it was, though.
Well, I think the final cutscene of the evil path, you murder your own grandma.
Oh, that's right. I do remember, yeah.
Pretty messed up.
It's pretty messed up. Brandon Lloyd, last comment I got here, said, man, the only time I do evil choices or paths is if achievements are tied to it. Being evil is hard. And I can relate to this.
Yeah.
The biggest one for me on that is Fallout 3. Because, like I always do, I play the game good. But then, that was one that I just had to see what would happen. I felt dirty about it, but I had to see what would happen in Fallout 3 when I pushed that button.
Oh, the button.
I had to push the button, man.
See, yes, I had to do that, and then reloaded my save.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, no, I had to play through as evil for the achievement.
Fallout 3 was another instance where I wish they didn't have, like, the karma system almost undermined the decision making, because there's a lot of tricky stuff in Fallout, but then you do get the feedback on whether it was good or evil according to the game's logic afterwards. Like, that whole the whole living tree side quest is really memorable.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That was really cool. But in Fallout, didn't they actually have a red or a green one, so you knew if it was like good or bad? But they were different colors.
Did they? I don't remember that. I could be wrong.
I think I remember that.
Okay.
It's been a while since I played Fallout 3, but I thought there was...
Actually really funny is if there is a green and red highlight, I would have never known.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of fascinating.
Maybe... Now we're going to have to go double check now.
Yeah,
now
that's actually kind of... Isn't that crazy? Like, if there's a whole feature that I just missed because I'm colorblind. That's crazy.
Oh my god, I need to load that up. It's not on Game Pass, but I gotta find a disc copy of that or something now just to see.
Wow,
because wouldn't that be wild?
That would be
this entire time
nuts. Yes.
Or
that'd be true.
Alyssa, do you own that game?
I believe I do.
Because I don't. You got to do me a favor this week and fire it up and tell me if those choices have red and green, or if they had like evil or good in parentheses behind it or something. That might be the case too. But man, if it's red or green, that's gonna blow my mind.
Yeah,
I'll definitely check.
Oh boy, this will be fun.
This is gonna be fun. Did we miss any titles? Anything that we haven't talked about? I feel like we hit most of them. Looking at my list, you mentioned BioShock already. Oh, you know what's one we didn't talk about was Dishonored, which I don't know if you would call that a moral choice, because you could choose to not kill anybody in that game. You could choose to like put them to sleep, which made the game more difficult, which I found interesting because as a person that wants to play morally good, it was insanely difficult to play the game morally good, because it made that game significantly harder.
Because you only got perks from killing people, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if you went the stealthy, non-lethal route, you didn't get those perks.
Right, and I think that's why I got frustrated with that game, because it was so difficult to be good.
Yeah, I never super got into Dishonored, but that sounds awesome, because I've actually always thought that the good path should be harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like being good in a video game should cost you something.
I'm smelling a Patreon episode to go back and play Dishonored this summer, man.
Oh yeah, is it that good? You like it that much?
No. I didn't get that far. I gave up.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that could be like a break the seal for both of us.
Oh, I mean, people.
I did play all the way through, and I tried to be good. I quickly, I was like, I can't do it. It's too hard. So, did the assassin route. It is a good game. It's really good.
The story was intriguing. I really enjoyed the look of Corvo. Was that his name? Yeah,
Corvo Atano.
The universe is super cool.
Mm-hmm. I heard the second one's good too.
Yeah, well, you have two different protagonists in that one.
Yeah, I like it. Any others you guys want to touch on before we wrap up?
There was a comment from Sean Coates who says, I tend to go nice, at least when it comes to those games where how I treat NPCs determines my relationships with them and determines how the story will play out. Now, as for gameplay, yeah, I'll maim and murder anyone who gets in my way, but I'm nice if you get to know me. I just love the ending, that last sentence, I'm nice if you get to know me.
Sean is a super nice guy. That was good. That was a fun topic. Thank you, Christina, for recommending it, and thank you to both of you that was a really good conversation. I enjoyed it. Not sure what we're going to talk about next week, so stay tuned to the social medias for next week's topic. But for now, that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zack, any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so, man. I mean, Schitt's Creek, I'm tearing through that show.
It's so good.
I started that this week.
Oh, yeah?
I did. Not very far.
The seasons 2 and 3, they're very different than the first season, which I am surprised by.
Okay.
The show starts off kind of cynical and biting, like in Arrested Development, but it's like a heartwarming show. It makes me happy.
I'm looking forward to it because they're not very likable characters right now at all.
They become way more likable.
Surprised as hell at the tonal shift of the show, and that it works, and that it's still really funny.
Okay, that's good.
It's very
I'm also annoyed by Chris Elliott's character. He's just annoying. Yeah, Roland. He's just super annoying.
Oh, his name in the show.
Oh yes.
Just it's great.
We'll get there. I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in, so we'll get there. Alyssa, what about you? Anything you want to share with everybody? Maybe not video game related before we head out of here?
If you haven't watched The Mitchells versus the Machines, it's a fantastic movie.
It really is. I watched it with my wife. I have not laughed so hard watching an animated movie in a long time.
It's so good.
Thought it was okay.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I laughed so hard.
I'm sorry.
Dog,
I'm also the only
pig,
person
a
in the
loaf
world
of bread.
who didn't head over heels love Into the Spider-Verse, so maybe I'm just not.
I did not love Into the Spider-Verse either.
Oh, okay.
I get a lot of flack for not loving that movie.
We're the two.
We are the two. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here. Alyssa, it was great having you on your first official episode as a gaming outsider, as it were. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. I always enjoy it, and I'm so happy to be a part of the Gaming Outsider now.
We're very, very happy to have you. Zack, it's a pleasure to talk with you as always. Hopefully we'll play some, what is it, Murder Ball? Knockout City tomorrow?
Yep, that's right. Murder Ball City.
Murder Ball City? Remember that movie, Murder Ball?
No.
Murder Ball was a documentary about dudes that play very violent basketball in wheelchairs.
No, I missed that.
It's like a for real documentary. Like dudes like kick each other over. Like they're that violent, they're that competitive that they like seriously kick each other. They're like disabled people.
How can they kick?
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I just remember it being a thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music that you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. You can find his website at stemagemusic.com. STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.